Fellow YouTuber Larry Randolph sent me this beautiful Bradford Pear blank. Sent one to Sam Angelo as well as part of a YouTube experiment he's working on. This is one of the larger, thicker blanks that I've turned. This one is full 6 1/4 inches deep, which is almost probably close to twice as deep as most of the blanks I tend to turn in this particular size. And this is a little over 11 1/4 inches in diameter. For smaller bowls out of Bradford Pear, I typically use a woodworm screw, where I'm not real concerned about grain orientation because it's fast and easy way to mount it. But there's a limitation on the woodworm screw. You can't put anything larger than about 4 inches deep and 10 inches in diameter, and even that might be pushing it. So so woodworm screw is not feasible. So let's go ahead and get going. Welcome to my shop. I'm Mike Peace, and I'm passionate about wood turning, and I'm here to share with you tips, tricks, and techniques to help you become a better wood turner. So if that's what you're interested in, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any future videos. We're going to stand aside while we turn this on. This is a big blank. It's a bit out of round, so I'm going to start it at I'm going to turn it up until it starts vibrating a little bit. And it's up to about 600, and I think that's where I'm going to stop it right now while I go ahead and turn this. The initial turning of a big blank and getting it trued up is probably one of the most dangerous. So I'm going to use a push cut. I'm going to hold the handle in my left hand, hold the tool in my right, and I'm going to stay out of the line of fire until I get it reduced a little bit. Now, it's running just a bit out of round. Some people advocate trying to true it up like this. There's a little, probably a good 1/4 inch difference in diameter, so it's a little out of round. But since I'm going to take all that out by reducing this, I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. It's a little bit slower, but it's a little slower getting it balanced, but it'll take less time to turn the bowl. I'm using a 5/8 inch bowl guide. Got it braced into my hip. Now that I've got that corner taken off, I can move in, get a little more support. I drop the handle to about 45 degrees, open it up about 45 degrees. So it's pointing at about 10 o'clock. Now, you can see I almost stalled the motor, and that's because I have the belt set on low torque or high speed. So I'm going to change that and change it to bowl. I should have done that at the beginning, but I've been doing mostly spindle turning and haven't turned any bowls for a while, so I had it on that setting. I've got it back to about 600, which is plenty fast for this large bowl. Now I'm changing grips to a right hand on my hip. This is just a beautiful piece of wood. Okay, I'm going to take one, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the foot, or rather the tenon. So a 2-inch set of jaws is too small for this, so I'm going to be using a large set of jaws, and I want it to be just a hair smaller than this, so I'm going to go ahead and start down. Okay, I've got the tenon size just about right. I'll do a little more cleanup on that. I'm going to, this is a dovetail, so I'm going to come in there and clean it up with a detail spindle gouge, which I find a little easier. If I came in there like this with this tool, I'm going to catch a lot of ingrain. So rather than do that, I'm going to come straight down with this tool and I can get a nice clean cut. I'm just going to knock off that corner there. And then now we're going to square up this shoulder so the jaws will have a nice flat surface to rest on. Okay, I've got my tenon. Now I'm going to go ahead and take one final pass on this bowl. I can see this area is going to have to be removed down about, oh, maybe 3/4 of an inch. There's the pith, because I'm getting just a little bit of crack in here. The other side looks good. And let me see how well balanced it is. It looks like about there. Looks to be fairly well balanced. So let me take one pass. I'm going to switch to a 1/2-inch gouge. Just doing a slight scraping cut here to make this transition. Drop the handle, pick up the cut. I'm looking out here for the shape. I'm not worried about the tip of the tool. I'm going to come in here just a little bit and concave the bottom just to get rid of some of that thickness, just a tiny little bit, get rid of the wax, and then I'm going to reverse it. We're just going to come in here, just come in just a hair. This will just help the drying process a little bit. Now I've still left the center mark. So when it does dry and we get return it, I've still got something to center it on. So similar to the way I put it on, I'm just going to loosen up this ring. And I can take it with both hands and pull it off. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove this ring so we can reverse chuck it. Alright, now I'm going to change jaws to a larger set of jaws because these 2-inch jaws are just not big enough for a blank with this of this size. I've made this tenon fairly large because when this bowl dries and I have to true up the tenon, I want to make sure I've got enough wood there that when I true it up, it'll still fit in the chuck at a more optimum position. Pushing the blank into the center. And I'm looking, and I've got it in good contact all the way around. And I'm tightening it all the way around. I need to come back and adjust it because as it dries and the wood compresses, it can loosen its grip. So I'll have to come back. All right. So I go around and look all around the edge looking for any splits or checks or cracks, and I see, I can't tell, that may be a slight crack, but it'll go away as I cut down. But here's one that goes down at about 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to take this bowl down because if I have any cracks on the rim, chances are they're going to open up while it's drying. So I always want to use the tailstock as long as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that up while I take a little bit aggressively off the rim. Lock the tailstock down. Just come in. The tool rest is taking the brunt of the forces. It's almost the tool's almost parallel, but the flute is open to about 45 degrees. I just want to evaluate that crack, see if it does go as deep as I thought. And I do have that other crack is still there. I need to get rid of it. Yes, it's going to go deep, so I do need to bring it all the way down to that at least 3/4 of an inch. And I can turn the speed up a little bit, about 700. I'll come in straight in. Up a lot of end grain, it feels like. Let's see what's going on. Ah, okay. Piece of wood split off because of that crack that came all the way through here, and so it's giving me a rough cut. I need to just slow it down a little bit. Now, before I go any further, I'm just going to nip the corner here. I don't want a sharp edge there that's going to slice me open. Alright, now I'm going to turn it in. Alright. I'm going to have to take this tailstock out of the way. I have my tool storage stand right at the foot of the lathe with some wooden bed on it, so I can just slide the tailstock, which weighs close to 60 pounds, and just swing it out of the way. I'm going to take my fairly blunt bottom feeder and just with a series of cuts pushing primarily into side grain to avoid the end grain that you're going to get every time it comes around. Be mindful of the final thickness here for drying, which is I'm shooting for 10%, which is about 1 1/16 inch. So I'm almost there. I can only go down just a bit more. And we'll go back to the middle. Time to do a little bit of calipering. I'm using my bowl depth gauge, and I measure up 1/16 from the bottom, and I've got maybe a little over an inch to go on the depth. I've got my big figure 8 calipers to, when I touch them here, I can see the wall thickness right here and actually measure that, and as I go down I can see it change, getting larger, so I've still got to come down some more. I'm going to switch to my fairly blunt grind bottom feeder. Get rid of a little more of this. And I think that's just about got it. Okay, here's what I'm going to do to dry this thing. Here in my shop, the humidity, it says 68 now. It was about 58 before I put it inside this bowl, and so it's leaching water pretty quick. But outside it's raining, so we've got a humidity outside of in excess of 90%. If I leave it in the shop, it'll dry too fast. Like I say, the humidity is actually about 58%, and it's only going to start dropping as I keep the heat on in the house more, raise the temperature. There's a couple of ways I can do it. Sometimes I use this plastic wrap and shrink wrap tape and wrap around it. The idea is, obviously you got a smaller surface inside and a larger surface outside, so which one is going to leak the most water outside of the end grain. So this is where the straws are going. This is where I've got to be concerned about it. It's going to come out faster here than it will on the inside, and that adds to a stress. I've turned it to a very uniform thickness of about 10%. So instead of using this, which I use sometimes, I'm going to put a little anchor seal, but I'm only going to put it on the outside, and I'm only going to put it on the end grain, because that's the only places that I really need to be concerned with. That and maybe the rim right there in case there's a little residual crack I didn't notice. So I'm just going to come down this end grain on both sides with a little anchor seal. And I'm going to let it wait probably overnight to lose some of the moisture inside. You know, the bowl has got wood's got two kinds of holds two kinds of water. There's free-bound water, which is the water outside of the cells, and that's the water that leaves the fastest. Then the water inside the cells, that's the slowest, and I think that's the one that tends to cause cracking if it dries too fast. So we're just going to swab this on here. So all I cover. So what this does, by using this wax emulsion anchor seal, put just a little bit here on the rim, it forces the water to come out through the smaller end, which tends to equalize the drying a little bit more. Because this wax emulsion doesn't stop the drying; it just slows it down. I took off the sharp edges because the sharp edge has a tendency to crack. I did that on the inside and the outside rim. So I'm going to set this on the floor and let it sit overnight till the wax emulsion dries. Then I'm going to put it in a paper sack like this and just roll it up. And I'm going to take it outside to my garage, which has got a higher humidity. Some places they want to put shavings in it, and they need to because they need to put wet shavings to keep it moist because it'll dry so fast because their humidity is extremely low. But here we don't have that issue. If I fill this up with wet shavings and put it in a bag, believe me, I would have mold all inside this thing, and it would have a tendency to stain the blank pretty bad, maybe deeper than, so it might actually show when I turn off the and true it up to finish turning the bowl. This thing started at 22 pounds and now it's down to 6 pounds, almost 10 ounces. And of course I've got shavings everywhere. After I put this outside in a bag, I'll monitor it every 3 or 4 days. I may have to change out the bag if it gets too moist. I'll just swap it out for a dry bag, and when that bag dries I can reuse it. And then after about a month we're going to start taking weight measurements every month. Y'all stay safe. Come on back here.